No chemistry, but great connection. That's our topic today. And guess what? I have a special surprise. My beloved's in the house. And if you can see her name on the screen, what is it? What's your name?
My name's Paula.
It's not Princess?
Yeah, like Queen. I don't know what it is for
Queen.
today.
So I'm so excited to be sharing her with the group. And today we're going to talk about our initial encounter. No, I don't know if it'd be an encounter, but our initial connection, which started off with no chemistry.
I mean, we started off with conversations directly in the apps is what we started.
Yeah. So, but when I say no chemistry, we weren't each other's type.
We weren't.
Okay.
No.
So let's kind of go back in time. Matter of fact, I'll share my perspective and you share yours. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, folks, she wasn't, we did not rehearse this. Okay. So I guess it's almost been about a year ago. We connected on a dating app. We connected on Bumble. For those that want to know which app we connected on. Do you remember that connection?
Yeah.
Okay. And we had this brief exchange of text messages. You initiated the conversation. Okay. And I thought, oh, she's kind of cute, so we engaged in conversation. And our first conversation was the discussion of masculine and feminine polarity.
Yes.
And we each had a difference of opinion on this. And I would say we went, 3 or 4 exchanges.
We went back and forth quite a bit, and then I think we just dropped it. It finally spent itself.
Who was the next person to communicate? Was it you or me?
I think we just dropped it, and the next thing we knew, we didn't see or talk to each other for months, and then we saw each other on.
Do you remember the next app we saw each other? Match.com. Okay. And I wrote you, and I said, "Do you remember me?"
Yeah.
And did you remember me? You vaguely remember me. I mean, you had so many men in your queue,
right.
So, and I think we only had one exchange there. And what I mean by exchange, we had a text message, an email. I mean, since it was
kind of like we didn't really do well the last time, so we're not really talking too much.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was probably 3 or 4 months after that initial conversation. And then 6 months after that, you messaged me on Hinge.
I messaged you?
You messaged me first.
Okay. All right.
What? You don't remember that?
I think I said something about one of your pictures. Maybe.
Okay. You did compliment. No, you complimented my book. The books I have listed.
Yes.
Okay. So in my dating profile, I had a list. You see all those books behind me? I had them sideways and I took a picture so you could see the books.
It was about the Buddha. If the Buddha dated.
If the Buddha dated. Oh, it's on this side. If the Buddha dated.
I said good name, and that's what started it.
And we started.
So we had a little tete-a-tete, but we also started getting off on that, the messaging part of the app, talking about masculine and feminine, didn't we?
No, not in that exchange. No? But okay, so let me tell you guys what happened. So she sent me a message that really, and I have it saved in my favorites, so give me a second to find it. But in her message, she said, oh, wait, here it is. Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm taking so long to talk. This is what I wrote. Yeah. He wrote this. I'm a curious soul about pretty much all things in life and thrive on the inquiry of it all. If you get what I mean, I believe those who don't ask questions lack not only awareness, but quite possibly imagination.
Yes.
And that triggered me in a happy way because quite frankly, and ladies, I'm sure you've experienced this, men, you've experienced this, where you're connected with someone that they don't ask you personal questions. They don't inquire into who you are. And just the fact that you wrote that, I'm like, okay, I'm game to talk.
I mean, I think at that point I had been on a few dates.
Yeah.
I spent 2 years not dating, by the way, and finally got back into it right around the first encounter with you, really. So I kind of wasn't ready when we first connected, but I think you had asked me something about curiosity, and I was like, if you're not curious, forget it.
Yeah.
I had been on so many dates where guys were like, not asking me a thing, and it would get to the point where you're 45 minutes later kind of doing the whole,
don't you want to know something about me?
Yeah.
Well, quite frankly, and it fascinates me, you would think just because of what I do for a living, women would be curious, and I've had so many instances where I've never been asked about what I do beyond what they knew I did, kind of thing. Anyway, so we decided we communicated on a Saturday. We agreed to have a telephone call on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
I do. We talked for like 3 hours.
We talked for 3 hours, and about an hour and a half in, we realized that we had several close personal friends. Like we ran in the same circle of people.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, you know them? And like, yeah, and you know them. And why I think that was important for me, tell me if this was the same for you, is it created a sense of familiarity that oftentimes doesn't exist in the dating realm, because most of the time we meet total strangers. I mean, to the extent that you and I were strangers, but we had this connection.
Yeah. I mean, I think that probably more importantly, it wasn't necessarily the who that we knew together. It was just a conversation that we bonded on more than anything, you know. In other words, I don't think that it's required for people to have some, you know, previous connections, that they know people who know people who know
well people yes, but well, if you look throughout history, anyone you married was somebody in your circle. So your tribe, your village, your town, the college you went to. I mean, up until really online dating, most of us connected with people who at least was one degree of separation. Yeah. And my point in bringing this up is, well, at least I can only speak for myself. The fact that she knew not only these friends, but the circle my friends run into, and I call it my spiritual community. Yeah. So there are a lot of woo-woo people who are into personal development, self-help, spiritual work, that sort of thing. Therapists are in the community. So when I heard that, I'm like, okay, we've got to meet, or at least that's how I felt.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just had a really strong connection. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. By the way, someone's asking, what is your name? And I'm going, it's listed right there on the camera.
It's Paula.
It's Paula, by the way. Did I not say it out loud?
You did.
Okay. All right. So we decided we were going to meet the very next day on a Sunday. And
by the way, that almost didn't happen.
Really?
Because my girlfriend, she will not be named here, but my girlfriend said to me, I was texting her that night. I was at a live music event.
Okay.
And I was texting her and I'm like, I'm going to meet this guy. I had a really good conversation with him. And, you know, we started chatting about this and that. And she says, what does he do? And I said, well, he's a dating and relationship coach. And she said, send me his picture. And I was like, okay. And so I go back to the app and I snap the app and I send it off to her. She's like, Paula, you talked with him already. I said, I did. What did I do? And she says, you blew him off, or he blew you off, or something.
Yeah, but we said that in the communication in Hinge as well, that we connected before.
We did. But by the time it was in Match, I think. But by the time we got to Hinge, I did not remember until that night.
I cannot believe I'm unmemorable. Ladies, what do you think of that? Just kidding. So we ended up meeting on a Sunday morning at around 10 o'clock for coffee. Coffee. Now, let me just say this. It was at a nice restaurant in Marina del Rey overlooking the water. So it wasn't just a Starbucks kind of coffee. But the idea, we wanted something a little more informal. I mean, I don't think...
it was just a coffee meet, you know?
Well, in fact, did I not say, can we just meet, not treat it as a date? Do you remember me talking?
You did say something.
And why do you think I did that?
I mean,
or do you want me to tell why?
You tell why.
Well, because and folks, you know, I'm a dating and relationship coach. I'm here to support those to, you know, have the relationship of their desires. And I think these days there's so much pressure on the first meeting that when it's a date with all of the obligatory expectations associated with the date, it puts too much pressure. So when I said to you, hey, can we just be two people meeting as if we're friends, and if something if it germinates from there, then great.
Yeah.
By the way, nice. Did you like germinate? But why are you giving me that look? So anyway, we ended up meeting. And what was your initial thought of me?
Well, this is where the chemistry thing comes in.
Yeah.
So I think I was really, I was astounded. I mean, I've certainly had good conversations before, but this one hit, the day before our phone conversation. And then we spent 5 hours, by the way, at this coffee date.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of conversation around some of the things that, we had blown each other off about in the first place. And
oh my God, we had a total debate about romance and dating, courtship and masculine and feminine. Oh my God, we had like debates. We still talk about it incessantly, and I'm exasperated.
But I think at the end of the day, neither one of us kissed. We gave each other a really big hug.
Well, by the way, the benefit of a coffee date is it doesn't create the environment with alcohol, evening, and music to find yourself in a very intimate space. And you saw the video I did about kissing. First kiss might be the most dangerous.
Yeah.
So I actually think there's a value of coffee dates, because if there's a connection, it will lead to another date. And if there's no connection, then you haven't swapped spit with one another.
Yeah. So Angela's asking, what did I like about you when I met you? And I think and it's a really good question, because I think when I came home, I thought to myself, I really like this guy, but I feel like there's a little bit of sort of neutrality, and I was feeling it from him, So it was like we were having these great conversations. Really, I know I remember thinking, really great communicator. And is he really my type?
Yeah.
And I think that, that being the title of this video, we should probably address that piece, that for me, I remember thinking, God, I could spend all day sitting and talking with you, which we then proceeded to do for the next
10 days. Well, so, I think my initial reaction, oh, you're cute, like I had that, but I don't think I thought of you as my type. But in retrospect, my type's been all over the map in my lifetime. But there was almost I'm going to say the universe was blocking us energetically from a physical perspective. And let me share why this is so important. So we ended up giving each other, we had this 5-hour conversation, and we were going down rabbit holes on different things about our past, about our present, about our future. So we got a flavor of each other, but there wasn't this physical draw to one another. What the value of that was, the physical part wasn't overriding the getting to know you part. And this is where I really want to put a thumbnail here.
Yeah.
Is that we then 2 days later, I think you reached out to me with a text, and I said, can we talk on the phone? And this is the way I remember it. And by the way, folks, what I've learned in life is when you're in a relationship with someone, one person's memory could be totally different than another person's memory. So just know that as we share, I'm always going to say the way I viewed it. Okay. So I remember the conversation. You said, so Jonathan, what about us?
Oh, no, I did not say
That's the way you said it.
Oh, in the phone call?
In that phone call on that Tuesday.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, I said I'm feeling neutral. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. And actually, I think I came back and went, yeah, I kind of am too.
Yeah.
I kind of am too. And then we proceeded to unpack that.
Oh my God. So we spent 5 hours. 5
hours maybe on
that phone call, unpacking why we were both in neutrality. Because here's the reality. The title of this video is No Chemistry, But Great Connection. So when I think of chemistry, and I'm not sure you're aware of the different levels of chemistry I talk about in my coaching. I say there's physical chemistry, intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, spiritual chemistry. I even have one called creative chemistry. For
creative.
Yeah, well, there's people who are creative have a unique attraction about them.
Okay.
Artists, musicians, people, comedians. Adam Sandler is not the best looking guy, but because of his creativity, it makes him more attractive.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking about chemistry from an attraction standpoint. What ended up happening in that 5-hour date is we were hitting on intellectual and emotional chemistry. I think the physical chemistry by design, and I'm talking a universal God, universal spirit, Gus, designed us to be blocked from, or at least like a buffer
During that time.
During that time.
So
that's the way I viewed it.
All right. How was it for you? So the question I think is coming up probably for the audience, and I'm seeing it coming back through here.
And I can post these things. By the way, BC says Paula's very likable. Aw, thank you, BC.
Of why were we neutral?
Yeah.
And I think, to address the chemistry piece, I mean, all of us probably, have in our mind what our person, right, is going to look like, what they're going to feel like, how you're going to feel when you're with them, that type of thing. And I have a list. I've had a list for a while called My Ultimate Man. And my ultimate man list has changed over the years. It's gone from like, he makes X amount of dollars and he, looks like George Clooney and, that kind of thing, to more about how he makes me feel.
Did he have six-pack abs?
No. Yeah, he did. He had six-pack abs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I called them hot, HAWT.
Okay.
Yeah, hot abs.
Okay.
But we all have in our mind what it is that person looks like or feels like or whatever. And somehow, when we go on these meets for coffee or even a drink or whatever, like 9 times out of 10, they're not the person you envision in your mind, right? So, I mean, it comes down to like, what is chemistry? Like, what are you looking for? And why are we so pinned down to an idea that this person has to like meet this, and this in order to.
Well, I think we could go into a psychological, conversation about the fact that it's human nature to filter based on those things. We've been biologically designed to, women's looking for the strongest man to protect them from, the cave environments, that sort of thing. Men are looking for the most fertile women. I'm thinking cave people stuff. And it probably, but also the conditioning, where your cultural conditioning, your sociological conditioning, the conditioning of social media and television. I mean, Paula knows my dream woman looked like a young version of Linda Carter and was worth $20 million. I'm like, why not? If you're going to go big,
Yeah.
You're way cuter, by the way. Aww. So anyway, so what ended up happening in this conversation was we're like, wow, we're not each other's type, but we were curious about one another. So what happened next is really the piece of this puzzle, because to the extent that we thought we didn't have chemistry, we actually did have intellectual chemistry, we had emotional chemistry, we had creative chemistry, spiritual chemistry. What was being blocked was that physical desire for one another. And I think traditional dating today is all built on attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection, hoping that that's going to launch the opportunity for relationship. And what was happening for us was something completely different, because for the next 10 days, we end up talking on the phone every day for hours upon hours per day.
Yeah, it would start like an hour and then I'd go, I have to hang up, and then you'd call me. Like 3 hours would go by. But I think, at some point, I don't know, maybe day, and this was literally every single day. At some point, probably 4 or 5 days into it. Yeah. And I was really starting to feel like, we were sharing stories and our past experiences, our romances, our family, crazy stuff that has gone on, health stuff, your child, etc. And children, like the whole 9 yards. But what happened around, I don't know, it was probably day 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I wrote this big, long journal entry and I shared it with him and we started chatting about it. And about day 5, he says to me, I was telling a story of some sort, and you know how you do with friends, you hear a story and you just go, oh my God, I freaking love you. Right. Yeah. Like it just comes out of you because you just have this thing, like you just completely enjoy this person. This is how this whole thing started to develop. And we put each other in the friend zone, but that was the beauty. That was the chemistry. That was the piece that started building.
Because we weren't we weren't performing for one another. We weren't trying to prove. In fact, I was almost doing the opposite with you.
You were actually.
I was like trying to convince you, like, I'm not your guy, kind of thing.
Well, you were helping me with my dating profile.
Oh, that's right.
And I was you. You were talking to somebody. You were like, "What you know?"
Oh, that's right. I was talking to another woman. And what's interesting about that is that we unbeknownst to us, we were building a friendship. And so by the time it got to the day 5 where I go, I freaking love you. And it wasn't I'm romantically in love with you or anything, but what it was I saw myself in you.
Yeah.
Like that's what that meant. Like I see myself in you, your personality, your humor. Oh my God. Paula has off the charts humor. I love her. It's not a quirky personality. You have very quick, what? Oh,
Deborah nailed it. We weren't attached to the outcome.
Where'd you see that? Oh yeah, exactly. Deborah, exactly. So that's a good point. During those 10 days we were speaking, we were not attached to an outcome, but something else was happening. It was we were building this friendship. But at the same time, and I told you about this morning. I've done this before. I've connected with people online. Mostly it's long distance dynamics where there's a friendship that gets built and I have to pull the plug on the friendship because I realize this person isn't going to be a real friend. And what I mean by a real friend is social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. That kind of friendship wasn't going to happen in those previous experiences. So I pulled the plug on friendship. And by day 10, and maybe I'm fast forwarding a little bit, I woke up that Thursday morning. We had talked the night before. She goes, oh, we should get together for a drink. And I'm like,
I was a little bit having like, maybe I've blown him off a little too fast too. I mean, I think we were both starting to lean in, but weren't really sure. Like we definitely didn't want to get out of the friend zone because we were having such, I mean, I remember saying to you, in fact, you know, the feeling scene painting came from this, which was that I had said this to a few of my friends, like I had never felt so seen and held and witnessed and heard, you know, from another human being as I had with Jonathan. Yes, Angela, I'm going to answer that question. She asked about, did I repeat affirmations or pray?
We'll share that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get to questions in a few minutes. I want to kind of get to the story.
So that's why I had asked, like, maybe we should get together for a drink.
So, and it happened, I remember it was on a Wednesday and I believe I was recording a video podcast. Yeah. And the following day I was going to be driving. I had to go to a funeral and I knew where the funeral was at was literally going to be kind of driving by near where she lives. So I woke up that morning going, fuck, I really dig her. Like, I mean, I was like, I'm really dig her. And I called you up and I said, I'm really feeling like I dig you. You know, that wasn't my words, but I
remember your words.
Oh, what were they? Of course you do. You have a memory of an elephant.
You said, hold on. You said, I woke up this morning and I can't stop thinking about you.
Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. Thank you for reminding me that. So I said, hey, I'm going to be driving by your place around 3:00 in the afternoon. Can I just stop by and we can get together for a drink? And so she goes, sure. Right.
Yeah. Well, remember, I was in a boot. I had just had foot surgery.
Oh, that's right. You were in the boot.
So I couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, yeah, come on down. You know.
So she invited me for her place for a drink. And so I left the funeral. I called her up. She kept me company on the drive. I pulled up to her place. I parked my car.
I met you down in the garage.
Oh, you met me down in the garage. Yeah. So we went upstairs to her place and I hadn't been inside for a few minutes. And what I did probably breaks my rules that I talk about for everyone else. So I need to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Well, so
he planted a kiss on me.
I planted a kiss on her. But you have to recognize that we had spent almost 50 hours of telephone calls plus the 5-hour dates that we had together. And the kiss was more just kind of like okay, if there's going to be chemistry, let's find out now, kind of thing.
Like fail fast.
Yeah, fail fast. That's your
yeah.
And not that I did it, but there was also this strong pull because we had built, and I want to be careful by sharing this story because some people experience artificial intimacy.
Yeah.
They create a false sense of attraction because we had no attachment to an outcome.
There was no outcome.
Exactly.
We were just building a friendship.
We were building a friendship that the attraction kept growing since then. And why I wanted to even shoot this video is I said to Paula this morning, think of how many people probably miss out on a fantastic relationship because there wasn't chemistry on the first meet or date. So how was the kiss for you?
That's good, clearly.
Or give me a kiss. I wasn't quite like that, the kiss. But anyway, we ended up spending 5 hours going, oh shit. What just happened?
Oh, we forgot to talk about we were a stand for the magic.
I don't want to get into that one.
Well, but that's where the line came from.
Okay.
So, all right. So partly on day, whatever that was, let's call it, day one.
The phone calls.
Our phone calls. The conversation that we unpacked about why aren't we attracted to each other? We really enjoyed each other's company, all of those things. And I don't remember who said it first.
I said
who said it.
Yeah.
We said that we wanted to be a stand for the magic. And what that meant was
we want everything we
wanted everything on our ultimate person list.
Plus what we were experiencing.
And, what was interesting was what we were experiencing was building our ultimate person list. You know what I mean? And so I think that whole, at the end, when after he planted the kiss on me that night and whatnot, we're sitting on the couch and he says to me, we've been trying to be a stand for the magic all of this time. And the whole time we've been pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
We've been having the magic this whole time. Yeah.
We've been pulling the rabbit.
So do you remember what I said next?
Yes. So flashback to the moment when he says, gosh, I freaking love you. Right. And I'm like, I love you too. So this is day 11 or whatever, and we're on the couch and we got the first kiss out of the way, and we're, sitting and chit-chatting on the couch, and we talk about being a stand for the magic. And on our way out, we're about to have him go home, and he looks at me and he says, don't take this the wrong way, but I freaking love you. And that was it. I melted. That was.
Well, and what's interesting, thank you. Love, the love is the most written about word in the English language, a perception around love. And what I had in that moment was deep friendship, deep care, deep curiosity, feeling seen by you, feeling heard, understood. I mean, in roughly about 60 plus hours of connection, we had developed something that felt so different than anything else I'd ever experienced. So, and I'll put a bow on all this, is just really quickly, we got together for a real formal date. A week later, I went out of town. We talked on the phone. We talked on the phone another 40 hours before we actually, well, not 40, probably 20 or 30 hours before we had a very nice romantic date. We had another short date, and then we spent the weekend together. And I'll leave that up to your own imagination of what happened. But from that moment on, that, for lack of a better word, fifth date, if you will, we both agreed that we wanted to explore a relationship. Like we wanted to explore a serious relationship. And we read my dating vows, which I don't have it handy here. But and for those who know my dating vows, there's a link below to get a copy of it. She thought it was a little corny. I think it was a declaration to be a little bit more intentional.
I mean, I understand it. It's not, it's whether or not somebody's willing to.
I don't care. You know what? You were willing to do it.
Okay.
So, and if a guy isn't willing to be, and this is the dating vow is predominantly for women to assess a man's sincerity. if someone isn't sincere about it, then I wouldn't have sex with that person, is my, my invitation for everyone. The message in the story, and we'll get ready to take questions in a moment. And I want you to know, we've been reading the comments, very grateful for all the comments that have been shared so far, was that we would have missed out on something really wonderful if we stuck to it has to be off the charts, butterflies, fireworks kind of chemistry. We did have chemistry. It wasn't, and I'm grateful it wasn't let's start with physical chemistry. We started with all the other areas of chemistry: intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, spiritual chemistry, creative chemistry. And what I mean is we started with connection. And within that connection, we have friendship. And now, look, I've been doing this for 15 years. And I can honestly say that, I've had multiple relationships with wonderful women who I've deeply cared for. But you and I are like, we're two, I always just say we're two peas in a pod. We're two kids in a sandbox with making mud pies every day. Yeah. And what I mean is our friendship is what really catapults the balance of our relationship. And I believe that.
And now the through line really is coming from love. We really, that got built on the shoulders of friendship.
Yes. And because we weren't, the physical wasn't fueling it, nor was the entertainment expectation, romance expectation, the physical connection expectation. It wasn't the driving force, and there wasn't any grand expectations around this. And really quickly, I just want to share with everyone, I took you out on a fancy date, or that third time we met. Mm-hmm. The fifth date, she took me to a really nice sushi place, and I'm talking, it was expensive. It was her treat. She said, I want to show my appreciation to you. We have a very, reciprocal generous reciprocal relationship. Mm-hmm. It wasn't built on the man is supposed to do this and a woman is supposed to do that.
Which was the reason that whole masculine, feminine conversation started in the first place.
So anyway, that's our story. No chemistry, but great connection. Do this. This is our invitation. If that works for you, great.
In the friend zone.
Well, I always say start in the friend zone. Putting someone in the friend zone means I won't have sex with you. Starting in the friend zone gives the opportunity for something to grow. And that's our invitation for everyone. For those in